Despite softer consumer sentiment, the U.S. shoppers showed up in record numbers again this year. Retail spending is projected to be up over 4% year over year. That's driven by, a big increase in online shopping at almost 10%, 8 to 10%. And 200 million Americans came out and shopped over the Thanksgiving week. That's great for consumers who are looking for, you know, variety in shopping locations, channels, and convenience. And it's really important for retailers who still rely on this season to make their numbers. As you said, it's a tale of two cities. We should talk about that. But two things I think are also important for us to note. One, on that note, it is a value-oriented season, the value-oriented shopper. Yes, we have affluent shoppers who are trading up and buying luxury goods, and we have lower middle income folks who are pinching pennies, but they're also spending. They're looking for great deals, they're finding great deals, and so they're able to meet their gifting needs. I think the second thing that's really interesting, and we talked about this the last time I was on the program with you, is AI is already starting to shape behaviors of consumers. And for somebody who follows this space and follows this industry, it's really a fascinating time and really an important time of year and strong season, I think, for the industry.
Alexis, Nate is one of these people that leaves terra firma, climbs in a U.S. Navy submarine, and sits on the bottom of the ocean floor for 6 months. Nate, what were you thinking, buddy?
I don't know. This is a long time ago, Paul. I'm not doing that anymore. Maybe that's no. I loved it. It was fantastic. Great group of people that you get to work with. Great mission, and it was a really formative part of my career.
All right, Nate. Thank you for your service, sir, and graduate of the Naval Academy. I don't know how those people do that stuff.
God bless them. I could not.
I'm not doing that. Nate, what are we seeing here? We hear about the K-shaped economy, and a lot of consumers out there struggling. The higher end, though, doing quite well. How do you see that in retail sales?
Well, for the holiday especially, so this is not new. There has been a tale of two cities for the last couple of years. The higher end demographics have driven a lot of the continued consumer spending in the U.S. In the holidays in particular, that has played out as well. Retailers have responded, though, and retailers have been finding ways to make sure that this is a good season for any demographic. The way that that's played out is that we saw coming into the season actually 75% of consumers were willing to wait. They were willing to wait until they hit the right price, it was the right deal on the item that they wanted. What that deal meant and what retailers are responding with was something clear and transparent and deep. So 30% or more is what many consumers are looking for. The other thing that's helped fuel, especially the middle and lower income households, is buy now, pay later. We saw $1 billion. We saw that spike to $1 billion over Thanksgiving, which has enabled people to spend at levels for the holiday season, so they can meet their gifting needs, and they're cutting back on discretionary so they can spend time, dining out with families. So it is I think for the middle and lower tiers, it's meant being intentional, pinching pennies, finding ways to support the holiday gifting that they want to do, but doing it by being very specific about when they shop, and retailers responding and making sure that those customers can find the deals they want.
Buy now, pay later, though. I mean, you can run into a lot of trouble, especially, there was some data showing that folks were putting everyday essentials like groceries on those things just to sort of make ends meet. And I think that's when you can really, come into some trouble. But I just want to talk about retailers and where does this leave them in this sort of complex situation? Because January is sort of a natural time for retailers to reset prices. That we don't have a lot of clarity yet on tariffs. The Supreme Court has not yet come down with that decision as to whether or not the bulk of Trump's tariffs are even legal and able to stand. So do you think we might see some retailers test the waters and raise prices a little bit in the new year in this environment, or are they going to stay on the sidelines and eat it in essence?
It's possible. Well, I think we've already seen retailers absorb most of the price increases due to tariffs. 50 to 100% of those tariffs, depending on the category that you're looking at, have already been absorbed by retailers. I think much more and more important for retailers is stability. Retail CEOs that I speak with and retail merchant organizations to do the pricing themselves are looking for more predictability and stability. So if tariffs are pulled back, I think that's a windfall for retail and for the consumer. If they hold steady, that's also okay, because most retailers have already priced, either found different sources of supply, changed what they sell, or priced it in ways that the consumers have already experienced. It's instability and unpredictability, I think, the thing that's the demon that most retailers are worried about.